Las Vegas?
Yes, sir. I spent 2 years in Las Vegas. My dad was addicted to gambling and drinking. At that time, it was just me and my oldest sister. We moved to Arizona when I was 2 years old. As far as I can remember, I think what made my mom really basically move from Las Vegas was the fact that he come home almost every day when he got his paycheck with like a penny or two, because he spent it all. He got a cash to the casino. He was a security guard at the casino. And so we go to Arizona and we're living in Levine. Well, then my little sister's born in Phoenix. And we're still living in Levine. We lived there with my uncle, which was basically my mom's best friend's girl in high school. She lived with us. She was considered my her husband was my aunt or my uncle. We lived in Levine until I was about 7 years old. Then we moved to Phoenix. You know, at an early age, I had a real bad childhood. I'll say this because I've come to grips with it. Well, I've been in prison, to let you know. When I was in prison, I took a course called Beta Satan. In the Beta Satan class, they taught us how to deal with the offenses that we've been holding on to in our lives, what caused all the problems in our lives. And it allowed me to come to grips with some things that happened to me as a kid. I was a real young kid. I was 7 years old. My father molested me and my sisters. He made us do things. He made us watch while he did things to each other. It just was a real bad thing. I started running away from home when I was about 7, 8. By the age of 9, I had like 62 counts of chronic runaway. I was always truancy from school. I had to go to a special school that every morning a police officer would take me to school. We'd go into it was surrounded by a gate. We'd go into the gate. He'd drop me off, and then they'd come pick me back up and take me home. I didn't want to stay at home because of the molestation that was going on. At age 9, I got in real bad trouble. I started burglarizing houses, arson. What got me caught was I ended up burglarizing a police officer's house. And I went in when he wasn't there, but he had come back. I guess he had forgot something, and I ran out the back door. But when I went out the back door, my pants leg got caught in the back door, and I couldn't get it loose. He ended up coming back there, hearing the noise, opening the door, and I took off and hit the fence where he caught me. I went to juvenile hall in Arizona. They call it Durango. It's a juvenile place. I spent 6 months in there. The judge made a determination that I was a troubled kid, and he gave me a few years in juvenile hall. I went to a place called Arizona Boys Ranch. It's over by Williams Air Force Base in Chandler, Oklahoma, or in Chandler, Arizona.
How long were you there?
I was there for 2 years. Then my mom petitioned the court to let me out. They told my mom that the only way they would let me out is for me to leave the state and not come back to my 18th birthday. At that time, my father had already left. My mom and dad were separated. Sorry. And she met a truck driver. His name was Cy Hockenberry. He became my father. He became my stepdad. I considered him my father. He taught me a lot of stuff about truck driving. He came and got me with my mom and brought me here to Oklahoma. I got to Oklahoma when I was about 13, and we lived with his boss in Midwest City at a place called Dimmick Trading Park. It was off Southeast 29th, right there by Tinker Air Force Base. It's closed down now, but after that we moved to 10th and Douglas in Midwest City. I started going to Star Spencer High School. I was 13, 14. I went to Rogers Middle School. I started doing a lot of things in school that got me into trouble. Carrying weapons to school like Chinese stars, knives, things like that. I got busted with them a few times.
Were you aggressive at school, or did you just have that stuff because it was cool?
No, I got involved with the wrestling group, and I was able to take out a lot of my anger that I had been holding on to, but I was a pretty troubled person. I was a pretty troubled kid. I fought all the time I could. I loved to fight at that time. I was practicing paganism. I don't know if you know what that is. It's witchcraft. My mom didn't know. I'd do spells on people. I'd fight. I'd draw blood just to see the blood. I was a very hateful and evil person at that time. I got involved with the drug activities when I got to high school, Switcher High School. Got involved with a group of kids that were trafficking. I hope I don't go to jail for all this, but they would have me go pick up the stuff, sit at the school, package it up, and wait on them. I would get anywhere between 2 to 3 ounces of weed, crack, pills, whatever they had me get. I made a lot of money. I had a car. Well, one day it ended up, I went to go pick up the stuff. I had made the pickup. I went back to the school and packaged it all up. Well, at 3 o'clock, a guy was supposed to come pick it up. He never made it. So I made the choice to leave and go drop it off. Well, on my way out, 10 cop cars surrounded me. I guess they had gotten a word that a car was sitting over there or something, and I had all these drugs in the car, and I knew I was going to prison if I didn't do nothing.
What kind of stuff did you have in the car?
I had Oxycontins, weed, crack, powder, cocaine, meth. I had a whole bunch. You name it, I probably had it in there. Purple Hearts, Black Lotties, red-haired Nash weed, marijuana. I even had a little bit of water. Well, what had happened was as I was pulling out, they surrounded me. And when they surrounded me, I made a choice. They pulled me out of the car and I hit a cop. When I hit him, he fell down and broke his wrist or his elbow or something like that. And I've had a lot of problems with these officers around here. They've been really on me. Every time they see me out here, they kind of...
That's all right. I saw that guy out there, and if he comes up here, I'll tell him that, we're just talking.
They've been harassing me because I got real snotty with them the other day because they kept messing with me for no reason. So I got real snotty with them, and now every time they see me, they know I'm an ex-felon and just got out of prison. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying about the drugs, I ended up hitting the cop. Well, instead of them searching the car, they just locked up the car and took me to jail. And they got me for assault and battery with the intent to do deadly harm upon a police officer, which is not very good. They ended up giving me 28 years. I was 16 years old when I went to prison. I did 2 years as a juvenile, and then I did another 18 in adult.
Where at?
While I was in juvenile, I went to Raider Center. I've also been to Kojak, which is it's like a halfway house prison. Well, I got in a lot of trouble. I kept fighting with the inmates there, and I never really coped with the fact that I was locked up. If I would have been behave and did what they told me to do, I probably wouldn't have got the time in prison. I probably would have got it all suspended. But at 18, I was still ignorant, I was still crazy, I was still fighting a lot. So they just decided to go ahead and lock me up. Well, when I got to prison, I was 18 years old. Still practicing paganism, still doing the witchcraft stuff. I grew up in there. I learned the ropes, how to survive. They say that when you go to prison, it's to rehabilitate you. But I can vouch from experience that when you go to prison, all it does is make you either a better criminal or teaches you how to be hateful towards other people.
How did it teach you to be a better criminal?
The people in there, you got all types of elements. You've got people that have stole cars, people that have robbed banks, people that have caused arson, people that have done rape, all these things when they're combined in this society, because in prison it's a different society. It's not a rehabilitation center. It's a different community. Out here, people are free to move and do whatever they want. Well, in there's a time that we do that. That we're told when to go to the bathroom, when to go to chow, when to go to sleep. It's just a lot of things add up. So we've adapted to a point to where we've made our own community. When somebody new gets there, we test them, what we call testing their heart. Well, what I mean by testing in their heart is we see where they're at, see if they're strong enough to survive on their own. If not, most of those guys that come in that don't defend themselves, they're prey. They'll end up being a homosexual or end up getting raped or something like that in prison, or something real bad would happen to them, or they tell on somebody and they go to PC, or something of that nature. When you go to prison, if you don't have that heart, if you don't have that ability to adapt, to be stronger than the next person, to take control of your surroundings, then people don't have a lot of stuff for you. You have to be a better criminal. A lot of guys in there, like when I was locked up, before I was locked up, I didn't know how to steal a car. I didn't know how to do anything from a car. All I could do was take the hubcaps off of it. When I got locked up, I learned how to be a better criminal now I can steal a car with no problem if I really wanted to. All these things are taught by the other individuals. There's a class of people. They have Aryan Brotherhoods in there. Aryan Brotherhoods are basically KKK, but different branch. They're independents. They're universal. They're all about they're basically, in my opinion, they're all about their self. They prey on the weaker than them. Then you've got the Black Panthers. You've got biker gangs. You've got Crips and Bloods. You've got just a different kind of element in there than you do out here. Well, they've all learned to survive in this community.
So you're saying with all of your bars and all of your cameras and all of your guards walking around, prison was the least safe place that you have ever been, would you say?
Yeah, in my opinion, prison is better than out here, because in there's a hierarchy. What I mean by that is, if you're able to survive, if you're able to adapt, then people have a lot of stuff for you. Out here, you don't have that mentality that okay, I'm going to help you if you help yourself type things. Now, don't get me wrong, society out here does have some good Christian people. I became a Christian about a year ago. I turned my life over to Christ. There's a man that I did time with named Tony McAllister. We call him Tony Mac. He got out and started a Christian prison ministry called Free in Christ. He's out of Tulsa. I had done a lot of time with him, and he became a minister. Well, he invited me to church. I accepted Christ into my heart, became an evangelist, took Evangelism Explosion, learned the gospel of Christ. There's more, to my opinion, there's more Christians, actual people that believe and have the faith in God in prison than there is out here. Out here, you got a lot of hypocrites because they haven't experienced the pain. They haven't experienced the mindset. They haven't been in that situation. They haven't taken the time to actually walk in somebody else's shoes. Well, the people in prison have. We've actually walked that area. We've walked into the pits of hell. We've been there. We've done that. We worked for the devil. We stole cars. We beat people up. We did all that, and we were guilty of it. Yeah, there's a lot of innocent people. They say go to prison. Well, yeah, there is, but there's also a lot of guilty. And even though the innocent do sometimes go to prison, most of the people that you have to look, they have to start looking at it like this. Something in their life, they've done something in their life to get there that led them to that point, or to that communication with the law, in order to have that ability to go to jail. I had a problem with police.